Welcome to the Manny Perez Show, the show that covers, works on, and solves our community's issues. Yes, we can with the Manny Perez Show.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Manny Perez Show. I'm Manny Manuel Perez, your Northwest Queens community leader, political leader, and professional dedicated to helping people solve problems and create a better future. And today we're going to be talking about risk management. How do you handle your risk? And you're going to see the link at the bottom of the page for the webinar I will be giving in Spanish, though, on Thursday, April 8th at 11 a.m. If a lot of you, or if a number of you want to have that webinar in English, just contact us. Let us know. Drop us a message, and we will plan for it. There's no problem. I'm here for you. And also here for you is our journalist, Gabriela Ascanio, who, as a good journalist, she is always identifying risks, situations in our community that we should be aware of. And with us also, Julio Camacho, our production engineer. So now, Gabriela is going to tell us about what's going on in our community. Gabriela, please.
I'm going to start with a very good news. There's a new group that's going to be getting the shot, the vaccine, and that means that I am going to get the vaccine very soon. I'm really happy for that. Um, there's new people that qualifies to get the vaccine. That means that over 30 years, that means you can get the vaccine, and that's a huge step in this race against COVID because the majority of people that lives here in New York are between 30 and 50 years old. So that means a huge amount of people are getting the vaccine now. Hopefully,
Hmm.
everybody gets the vaccine. That's the ideal scenario. I know that not everybody's going to get it. I know that everybody doesn't want the vaccine, but hopefully, most of us gets the vaccine. And I know that it's no guarantee that I'm not going to get COVID, but it's kind of a guarantee that if I get it, it's not going to affect me. It's not going to send me to the hospital. That's one of the biggest fears related to COVID. And I'm really happy for it. I'm going to get my appointment and I'm going to get it with a huge smile on my face because I'm tired.
Wonderful.
The mask, I'm still going to use the mask, but it's not comfortable. I know it's not the best thing to wear in front of your mouth and nose, but it's the least you can do to stop the virus spreading. The other thing is not related to our community, but there's a few countries that have shut down once again, and France and Chile, they're closing their doors. Nobody gets in, nobody gets out because the numbers are rising up again. So that's something to be very. It's not. Don't get scared by it, but be aware. Be aware of that COVID is not going anywhere. It doesn't mean that a year went past. That means that the COVID is weaker. It's not weaker. It might be stronger. It's going to mutate, and there's another type of the virus, and that you have to be very aware because you might get it. And if you get it, you might feel very sick. You might spend a lot of money because it's not a cheap disease. You might lose a friend, a coworker, a family member. Is that is something that you have to pay attention to it. Another thing is that violence still on the streets. There's still people with guns and shooting at, I don't know, the sky. I don't know what they do that. Um, People getting violent in the train stations, and we don't want that. We want a street where we go out and feel free to walk without looking over our shoulders, seeing if somebody is following us, without looking over our shoulder, uh, being scared of somebody. What if somebody, I don't know, punch me or steal my phone? Because I saw that on the news. There are a couple of people has been stealing phones in the train station, and if you're not willing to let go your phone, they might hit you. So be very aware. The other thing is, I don't know why this is happening, but a lot of houses has been catching up on fire, and there's few people that has been injured by it, and you have to pay attention. Do not lit candles if you're going to sleep. Do not let candles, even the straightener or something that you use for your hair, if you leave it plugged, that might cause a trouble if you leave it plugged and then you go leave the house. Be aware of the gas outlets, and you have to be very aware of everything, because the least thing that can happen to you is that you lose something material, but you might lose a family member or even your own life. And so that's a huge risk that can be prevented if you take a look of everything before you leave the house or you go to sleep.
Yep. And you've touched upon a number of risks that are present. They're present for all of us listening to this program, for me, for you. It's Let's go through simple steps. Fires. We live in houses and buildings that normally they're made with wood. They're made of wood. They can catch fire. But I've got to tell you, even cement buildings can catch fire. And fires, you can prevent fires. You have to be careful. You have to manage the risk. If you're cooking, well, you have to be paying attention to what you're cooking. Do you have a fire alarm, a carbon monoxide alarm? Those reduce the risk. Why? Because the minute they detect smoke or carbon monoxide, they just start squealing so hard. Now, some people think that the risk of being uncomfortable listening to the alarm when their battery is dying, oh, they take out the battery and they say, "Oh no, all fixed." Sorry, you've just taken away your protection against a possible fire. Now, do those fires happen to everyone? No, thank God. And, it's just something that we don't want to have those fires, because those fires, at the very least, will take away your home. And if you have children, you do have to be aware. Children will sometimes play with matches, and they will think they're very safe because they're doing it on a glass plate, for example. The thing is, glass plates with fire can crack, and the fire can get to the wood. Just saying, from my own experience. And that's one of the things about risks. We usually try to handle risks due to our experience, but I can only handle the risks that I've been exposed to or that I consider something that's not good. So I won't worry about risks that somebody else might worry about. Why? Because I might not live in the same place they live in. I might live on a mountain and I'm not afraid of flooding. Why? Because any water that comes in, it just goes down the mountain. But somebody that lives by the seashore, they're afraid of flooding. And that's a risk for them. Now, the other thing we mentioned was the COVID. Guys, I think you know this. New Jersey is starting to go into a third wave. New Jersey is having a problem with COVID infections. And there are other places in the US where the COVID infections are going up again. There are places where the governor has said, no, you don't have to wear a mask. And You we have to understand people make their own decisions. That governor or those governors that have said you don't have to wear a mask, I think that they are irresponsible. And luckily, a lot of mayors in those states are just saying, no, we have to wear masks in our city because the mayors are quite clear that you need to protect people against COVID. And the mask is one of the best solutions, even if you have the vaccine. Now, Gabriela is quite clear, and we were talking about this earlier. Right now, some people are saying, I'm not going to get the vaccine because the vaccine, scientists say that it's been proven it's effective for 6 months. And I need something that's effective more time. And Gabriela was pointing out, hey, we've only studied the vaccine for 6 months. You can't talk about something being effective when you haven't studied it. If they haven't been able to do tests for 1 year, they can't say that the vaccine is effective for a year. They can guess, but then there's the risk that they might be wrong. So thank you, Gabriela, for reminding me of that. And what's a risk then? Well, a risk is a change in your life that you don't like or that you're afraid of. That's the risk. It has to do with change. And if you don't have experience, then you just have tunnel vision, which happens, for example, when I was 12. I mean, I would grab my bicycle and I'd go into the street and I thought I was invulnerable and that my bicycle was clearly visible to all the cars around me. I was sure of it. So I didn't manage the risk of being hit by a car or me running into a car, which also happened. So I understand when we're younger, we don't see many risks and we get angry when our parents or older people tell us about it. But I got to say it, you've got to be conscious of the risks. Gabriela mentioned crime. Crime is it, it seems to be going up. At least the newspapers are reporting more local crime than they used to. And the only measurement we have for how much crime is going on is actually from our neighbors, from the newspapers, from the radio, the TV. Sometimes the news we get scares us. When you're scared, you can't handle the risk. You can't manage it. Why? Because you're scared. And some people say that, when we're scared, we have a fight or flight reaction, which is you fight against whatever is in front of you or you run away. But there's a third alternative, and I've seen it. You freeze. What does that mean? You can't talk, you can't do anything because you are so afraid that you can't move. And that happens. And the only way to not have it happen is to train yourself that when you start feeling so much fear, so much terror, you just ask yourself, what do I do now? And you remember that you can run away or you can fight or you might do something else if it's a danger or a risk that you've thought about. So that defines what risk is. How much time do I have left, Gabriela?
Less than a minute.
Ooh. Okay, so we'll be back in a moment with the second part of this program. There, I'm going to talk about what opportunity is and its relationship to risk. And we're going to talk about different types of risk. And I'm also going to give Gabriela a little bit more of a chance to talk about her experiences with risk. This is the Manny Perez Show. I'm Manny Perez. With me is our journalist, Gabriela Ascanio, our production engineer, Julio Camacho, and we will be right back. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Manny Perez Show. Yes, I'm Manny Manuel Perez, your public servant here in Northwest Queens, community leader, political leader, and a professional devoted to helping people find solutions and improve their lives. Today, we're talking about risk management. And with me is our journalist, Gabriela Ascanio, who, in the first part of the program, presented some of the risks that we're facing in our community right now, and our production engineer, Julio Camacho, who makes sure that this program comes out excellent quality. So, as promised in the first part of the program, we are going to be talking a little bit more about risks and how we handle risks, how we evaluate them. We can say they're a high chance of happening, medium chance of happening, or a low chance of happening. For example, I have a very low risk of running out of lipstick because I don't use it. So I won't run out of it normally unless somebody gives me their lipstick. I put it in my pocket to hold it for them and I lose it. Then the risk of not having lipstick becomes a very serious problem for me. So that's low risk, just so we can laugh about it because low risk, we often don't take it seriously. Here in the US, there's the saying there are only two sure things in life: death and taxes. Well, I don't think we are usually running in the street afraid of death and taxes. We're usually thinking of some other things. Are most of us afraid of death? Yeah, if we think about it. Are most of us afraid of having to pay taxes? Yes, if we haven't been paying monthly the taxes we know we're going to owe. There are different ways of handling that risk. And that's what today's program is introducing. I'm actually giving a webinar April 8th, 11 a.m. in Spanish on risk management. And you're going to see the link to the Eventbrite. But I do warn you, it is in Spanish. I'm sorry. If you want to hear it in English, just let us know. We can set it up because this is something I'm doing within my business. So, Gabriela, can you tell me about how you manage risks?
Well, I'm going to tell you about two things that happened to me. One is you mentioned that you went on your bike, and I remember right now that once my mom told me, "Oh, you have to wear a helmet and you have to wear knee pads and elbow pads," and I say, "No, I'm not. I don't wear it. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable." And my mom said, "What if you fell? And what if you fall? I'm not going to fail. I promise." And then I used it just because my mom was pushing it, and then I fell and I didn't injure myself because it was a huge fall. Nothing happened to me, and that there's a risk if you're riding a bike, a motorcycle, something, even a car, driving a car. That's why you wear seat belts, because there's a risk that something happened and you might injure yourself. And I did wear the helmet, and I didn't hit my head on the pavement. So that's something that was a relief that I used it. And something, another risk that I'm going to tell you is about when you're working for somebody and you don't like it, but you're receiving money for it, and it's a big amount of money, so you're comfortable with the money, because you have something, you buy food with it, you pay rent, and then you say, but I don't like it, I hate my job, I hate waking up every morning and doing the commute and going to work, I hate sitting in that office. But there's another opportunity that it might not be as good as the with the pay, but I will like it. And there's another risk that you have to take into consideration the pros and cons about those jobs, because there's there there's like a risk that you might be willing to take. There's another kind of risk. It's like a good risk, because if you don't like it, but you might like this one and you might do a career out of it, you might have to take the risk. um and it's not something bad, because the risk is that you're not willing to let go because you're scared. And if you're scared, you might not go be higher or further, because you're willing to be stuck in a place you don't like.
Yeah. And that's a very, very large risk for many people. Some people, because they're afraid of trying to look for something better, they stay with something that's horrible. And I don't advise that, even though I know that sometimes you just need the money. Doesn't matter what work you have to do, you need the job. And I know that right now, with the pandemic, some people are desperate to get a job and they'll do whatever it takes. And I've got to say, we're lucky we're in the US where a boss abusing you is not well looked on, and it can even be considered illegal. Depends on the type of abuse. But in other parts of the world, some people have no choice. So, once again, risk. You have to first identify what is it that you don't like that you consider there's a risk associated with it. Just think about it, write it down, and then say, is there a very good chance that this is going to happen to me? If it's icy outside, the risk of slipping on ice is very high. That's simple. Oh, can I reduce the risk by wearing the special slip-ons that have hooks and that go into the ice? Yeah, I can do that. Or I can wear special ice boots that have like nails in them, but still there is a risk of slipping on the ice. The medium's risk is, well, if I'm crossing the street, I've got to be careful because a car might be coming, or a bicycle, or an electric scooter. I mean, we have different risks. And then the low risk, I think I mentioned in the first part, is things that really, really I don't expect to happen in my life because they don't have to do much with what I do. But I should be conscious of them just because a low risk can become a high risk when something changes in your life. And risk and opportunity both have to do with change. Simple as that. Gabriela was very lucky. She did not have the fall when she didn't have the helmet on. I'm glad. Now, could she still have had a bad consequence? Maybe a broken leg because she went over a cliff or something? Yes, that can happen. But the helmet protects her head. Elbow pads, knee pads, they protect her joints. And there are things that are uncomfortable. I know that. Having to work at a job you don't like because you need the salary. I know how uncomfortable it is. I've been there. But there's the risk that you know that you're not too happy. Well, there's a big risk that you might lose your income. And that one can be a very serious problem. It's just a matter of thinking, of being conscious, writing things down, and remembering that for every risk, for every big danger, somebody's making money off of it. you can find a way to make money off of any risk, any danger. Let's not forget, just a year ago, there were a number of teenagers, high school kids that used 3D printers to start printing face masks that were needed because you couldn't buy them, you couldn't find them. That was a good business opportunity, and they took advantage of it. There are other opportunities out there, but you have to identify them because there are the opportunities that are in your environment, in your life. And then there are the other risks, the ones that you can't control. There, you just prepare yourself. Mention the risk right now we have from New Jersey, from other states. Yes, there is a risk because France, developed country, Chile, a strong country in South America, both of them are in the third wave. They had to close their borders. Will New York City have to close their borders soon? I don't know. We don't know. What I can assure you is that Mayor de Blasio, Governor Cuomo are contacting New Jersey and saying, hey, what are you doing to control your COVID cases? Just think about it. What are the risks? Don't be afraid. We said that in the first part. Don't let yourself be paralyzed by fear. Don't let fear push you to do something that might be worse. Think and manage the risk. You're a young person, just identify risks that you're thinking of, and then, yeah, I'm going to suggest talk to an adult. Ask them, listen, is this really dangerous? And pay attention. Listen to how the person is applying logic, and you can find your answers because those are the most important ones, the ones you have for your life. I think I've run out of time, right, Gabriela?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I have a risk of being cut off. This is Manny Manuel Perez thanking you, together with our journalist Gabriela Ascanio and Julio and America TV Productions. We are here for you all the time, and we will join you, or you can join us, next Monday, 7 p.m. And don't forget, contact us if there's anything you need. Have a great one. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Manny Perez Show, the show that covers, works on, and solves our community's issues. Yes, we can. The Manny Perez Show.